All right, you just heard from the Pig Rig. Pete Snyder joining us now from Disruptor Capital and the DisruptorFund.com. Pete, great to have you with us.
Johnny, great to be with you, too, and the Pig Rig's certainly excited to be coming out of the bullpen and storming on the field. I'm glad you got his intro music properly done there.
We got him fired up now. You've got a really cool event going on Saturday. Before we get into politics and policy and all that, I want to tell my audience about it. Smoke on That Water, featuring Pete's Pig Rig. If you've never seen Pete's Pig Rig, it's a sight to behold. By the way, the barbecue is phenomenal. This is going to be on Saturday, October the 11th, Pete, at Oronoco Bay Park in Alexandria, 2 to 5 p.m. Now, if people want to check it out, where do they go?
DisruptorFund.com. Just go to our website, sign up, bring your family. It's happening from 2 to 5 on Saturday afternoon, and it looks like we're going to have a gorgeous fall day right in Old Town Alexandria, right on the water, and goes to a good cause. John, as you know, and as your show has covered, we set up Disruptor Fund a couple months back, and really in hopes of growing our party. At best, our party has been stagnant over the past couple of years, and at worst, it's been on decline. So we need to go out there and jack up the numbers and get more people involved in the cause. And, you know, John, I was listening to you before I hopped on the air, and the litany of bad things, horrible things that are going on in the world made me almost want to jump out of my hotel room here. So, you know, it's not enough if we don't like the direction that our country is going in. We got to do something about it. So that's why we set up Disruptor Fund, and we're challenging every unit in every locality around Virginia to grow by 50% or more. If they do that, we'll donate a generous contribution to help them with their campaign funds. And it's been amazing. Over the past couple of weeks, we've had north of 20 units sign up. Albemarle took our challenge and was the first to complete it. They finished in less than 6 weeks. It increased their membership by over 110%, which is absolutely phenomenal. And Albemarle is one of the bigger units in the state. Same thing with Halifax. Took them only a couple weeks, and they increased by 50%. So people are catching the fever. They know that we need to put points on the board and grow our party, and we'll have a great little celebration on Saturday afternoon, and some good food and good drinks, and celebrating our conservative cause.
Well, look, Pete, there's no doubt Disruptor Fund is putting its money where its mouth is. Talk is cheap. Everybody runs around saying we need to do this, we need to do that. Your involvement with the party, with Disruptor Fund at the grassroots level, is actually going to be something that's going to move the needle. And I just hope that every unit chair takes advantage of that, because at the end of the day, that's the kind of thing, Pete, that's really going to make a difference.
Well, we're very encouraged about the response that we're getting from unit chairs and party leaders and grassroots activists around Virginia. And, we're having a lot of them show up on Saturday, John, and we have quite a number of celebrity pitmasters who are going to be donning an apron and saddling up to the rig. And I don't know, are we going to be able to get an apron on you? What do we think?
Well, I think I'd look good in an apron, right? We can tweet that out. The only thing is you'd have to have an apron with one of those really long strings in the back to fit around my waistline. If you can find one of those, we might be good to go.
kind of like the extra seat belts on the plane. Is that right? Do we have to have a custom apron for you, Frederick?
That's right. You got to get You got to get that little thing that kind of will hook two ends in. And now that they've narrowed the seats down, man, it's getting tough. Those that know me, they know that I'm no stranger to the adult eating utensil. No question about that. I did miss it. I did miss one meal one time, and it was a very bad experience for me. We're with Pete Snyder of Disruptor Fund, DisruptorFund.com. Pete, I want to get to a local issue. We understand that you were at an event last night for Virginia City Councilman John Moss.
I absolutely was honored to be asked to be the keynote speaker there. And I got to tell you, John, as many people in Virginia Beach and many of your listeners know, has been an absolute warrior and a champion for the taxpayers of Virginia Beach for a long, long time. I mean, here's a guy who, back in 2007, 2008, saw some of the garbage that was coming out of Richmond for these, municipal taxing authorities, called it unconstitutional, helped lead the fight against that, and he's been at it ever since on city council, and he's about as much of a conservative tax fighting stalwart as you can get. So I was honored to be on stage with John last night. He's a good friend, and Virginia Beach listeners need to deliver him back to city council. Also, Brad Martin's a good friend of mine. Is doing a great job in his first term. He needs to be delivered back to city council as well.
All right. Well, all of them are going to be at our Virginia Beach City Council at-large debate, October 15th, Virginia Beach campus of Tidewater Community College, 7 to 8 p.m. Doors open at 6. And be there or be square. You can also tune it in on WHKT AM 1650 in Southeast Virginia, 7 to 8:30 p.m. I'm going to be the moderator. There's nothing really to moderate because the way I've set this up, it's a real debate. Candidates ask all the questions to themselves, the old-fashioned way. Pete, I want to get to the debate. Ed Gillespie, Mark Warner. Now, it seemed like Gillespie finally got on offense on this thing. I think he did a fine job, but it really seemed to me like Senator Warner is just trying to run out the clock and make this whole thing go away. What say you?
John, there's no doubt about it. I was up close at the debate, and really, I've absolutely listened to the words, but I really tried to watch the body language of what people were doing, how they were acting in the down times, and it was abundantly clear that Senator Warner just didn't want to be there, and in fact, at several different times, seemed to get annoyed at the moderator, Chuck Todd, which is a kind of an odd thing to do, and I think Senator Warner probably had some reason to be annoyed. About 75% of the questions were about his record in the Senate. And, John, as you know, that's just something that Senator Warner doesn't want to talk about. A big, huge caveat here. I like Mark Warner. He's a good man. I know him from the technology world. Was an absolute all-star in the technology world. And by and large, while I disagreed on a good amount of policy with him, most Virginians think that he was a good governor. But the type of senator he has become, being in lockstep with Barack Obama, is night and day from the kind of governor he was here in Virginia. So, it's clear it's uncomfortable for him to talk about his Senate record. He'd love to do a bit of a rope-a-dope and just run out that clock. And the heat's being turned on. I like the direction that this race is going in. I thought Ed gave, for the second time in a row, a rock-solid, terrific debate performance. And Mark Warner was subpar.
And so where do you go from here? I mean, the new Wasson Center, Christopher Newport University poll came out. I got to be honest, Pete, there's a lot of polls that come out. We follow the Christopher Newport University polling because we think it's one of the most accurate out there. It's got Warner up by 27 days to go. How do you close the gap?
And I think there's reason for Mark Warner to be sweating a bit. You can tell in his mood the other night of the debate. That poll feels about right. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was 12 or 13 or more, 9 or 8.
Right.
I mean, it's somewhere in that vicinity. And if you look back when Jim Webb shocked the world and beat Senator Allen, he was probably about 12, 13 back, 27 days out. So this thing is closing and closing fast. The trend across the country, just again, all of the horrible headlines that you read at the top of the hour, it's not a pretty place out there, and that's gonna negatively impact the president's party and really all incumbents. So I think Ed Gillespie is timing this thing beautifully and putting himself in playing mistake-free ball and putting himself in the right place at the right time to drain that three-point shot at the end of the ball game and win this thing.
He's going to have to come from a long way down, but as you said, we looked up the Jim Webb thing against George Allen in 2006. 27 days ago, Webb was down. If you looked at the Real Clear Politics polling, Webb was down by an average of 10. So it's kind of about the same thing. And so anything is possible now on the national scale. Democrats running away from Harry Reid, running away from the minority leader, Nancy Pelosi, in the House. It's a tsunami. It's a disaster. Now you look at the fact, I just got to say, our neighboring state of North Carolina, Kay Hagan, Senator Kay Hagan, now we find out she didn't attend ISIS briefings, even though she sits on the committee, so she could go out and campaign and fundraise. You've got the Middle East in flames. You've got President Obama dropping bombs that are totally unauthorized or having no effect, just like everybody said they wouldn't. Some people say it's like wag the dog. And then Kay Hagan, who sits on one of the key committees, doesn't even show up for an intel briefing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to make of that, John. It's absolutely preposterous. And, the climate's just not going to get any better for any of these incumbents, including Senator Warner. And, John, like me, I know you're a big sports junkie, and let's just put this into NCAA March Madness terms, right? I mean, no doubt about it. No matter who you are, Republican, Democrat, Independent, if we were doing a seeding for a tournament, Mark Warner would be a number one seed, right?
Yes,
he would be, Kentucky, Kansas, North Carolina, what have you. I mean, he would be a number one seed.
Yes.
And, if you're in the first, second, third round of the tournament, and you're doing well against the number one seed Kentucky, going into the final couple minutes of the game, we wouldn't be saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe Belmont's 12 points behind. That's horrible." We'd be saying, for crying out loud, Belmont's neck and neck with Kentucky. They're making them sweat. What's going on here? And really, that's what Ed Gillespie's doing. He's hanging tough. He's in this thing. And this is all. He's not going to surpass Mark Warner by 6 points. It's just not going to happen. It's going to be passing him on the final weekend of the campaign, draining that 3-point shot, putting himself in the right position to do it, staying calm and cool. And that's all we've seen out of him so far. So I like where this thing's going.
I think you kind of summed that up. Pete, I've got just about a half a minute. Barbara Comstock, hashtag two-faced Faust, how do you see that race?
Barbara's running a stellar campaign. She is the hardest working person I know. She's out there all the time, have a great response from her constituents, has a hell of a political team. And I got to tell you, John Faust is running one of the most lackluster campaigns in the country. You're starting to see high-profile Democrats abandon him. The cavalry's not coming in. I think Comstock's going to win this thing by 4, 5, 6 points.
The supervisor, John Faust, has run a despicable campaign. He took his wife out, blasting a delegate, Comstock, on opposing Medicaid expansion, only to find out that his wife doesn't even accept it for the same reasons that people like me and Barbara Comstock were opposed to it. It's a terrible campaign. It's a despicable campaign, and that's why we've tagged him, hashtag two-faced Faust. If you got some time on Saturday, Smoke on that Water featuring Pete's Pig Rig. Pig Rig coming back to smoke out the Liberals. October 11th, Aronico Bay Park in Alexandria, 2 to 5 p.m. Want more info? It's real easy. Just go to disruptorfund.com, disruptorfund.com. Thanks for being with us. Pete Snyder.
Thank you, Johnny.